Hi, I just want to say thank you, first of all, to Up Down Air as well as C4x4 magazine. Without the help from both of those two companies, this would not have been possible. So again, thank you for allowing me to get my hands on one of the very first Up Down Air systems that was released at SEMA in 2017. And I just cannot thank you enough from allowing me to do that. Okay, the very first step in creating your air down system is, first of all, you need to create these whips, and to do that you have just two quick disconnects on each one. And what's really nice about these is when you see how they work is normally your quick disconnects do not have this black bar right here. This just allows you to be able to take it on and off a little bit easier. Just push down on that and that would release it from the valve. It's really nice, especially if you are wearing like gloves or have like long fingernails or something like that. It gives you something to grip onto, and again you just push down and that'll release that. To actually assemble these, there's just two pieces, and you'll be using just two open-end wrenches. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece and this piece right here. Before you do that, you want to put some kind of thread sealant. If you don't have like a Loctite thread sealant, which is recommended by the manufacturer, you can also use something called 5, which is what I purchased at Lowe's, and it's also a thread sealant. I wasn't able to track down any Loctite as recommended, but this worked just fine, and I did check these to make sure that they are airtight and there were no leaks. So to put this on, all you're going to do is you're going to take your assembled disconnect, and you're just going to push right into that until it stops, and now it's not going to come off. Okay, it's time to get up close and personal with you guys. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be now drilling into the vehicle to have certain points for these nice green bright whips to connect to. So the first thing you want to do before you do anything is you want to make sure that you have enough length for your whips to be able to reach the Schrader valves to the valve of the tire. So what I would do is recommend is, I know where the valve stem is going to be here, and I would just kind of go around the tire as far as I could get to, because you're always going to have them probably straight up and down from your perpendicular with your vehicle. So I put it here, and then as I can tell, I have enough length to go here to my second tab right here underneath the actual frame of the vehicle, and that's where I'm going to drill into. Instead of drilling into the body of the vehicle, which is recommended by the manufacturer, I'm going to go ahead and just go down a little bit lower. You may have a little bit of a chance if you hit with a rock or something, but those can always be replaced. And instead of drilling into the body of the vehicle, I'd rather do it into just one of the tabs here on the frame. So again, I'm going to drill it here on the frame, and as you can see, I still have enough length to connect all the way through my tire right here. So again, just use those green whips that you built on the very first step from the manufacturer, from Up Down Air, and that way you know exactly the length that you have. You can also try other ways. You may have actually a stock vehicle with the plastic inner fenders, and that's the recommendation, which I would definitely recommend if you still are running the plastic inner fenders. But as you can see here, I don't have that option. Now that we have decided where we're going to be doing the hard mount connections for the Schrader valves, it's time to go ahead and drill through. Again, I'm going to be using my second tab here that's built on the frame. And again, this can be different for each rig depending on how they want to have it installed. But I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher, that way we don't have to worry about maybe rocks in it. Hopefully my rock sliders will take most of the brunt of that anyway. But we're going to go ahead and do, so if you have one, go ahead and take an awl and use that as a starter point. Just put it up here, hit it a few times, get you a nice start. Then take just a very small starter bit. It won't take very much to get through this. Go ahead and just drill through here. And then what you're going to do is your final bit is going to be the 5/16 bit, and that's the size needed for the Schrader valve to be able to pass through. Just do a quick change on that. Now that you got your starter hole, should be just a nice Okay, now that we've got this this hole drilled, this now has exposed steel to the elements. So what you want to do is make sure that you go to like your local auto parts store, get you up some touch-up paint or some kind of pin that has some kind of paint in it that you can just touch up around there. But don't rush and just go ahead and put the shredder valve into that. You want to make sure that you paint that all the way around, and that way you can keep that from rusting or corrosion. Doesn't have to be fancy. You're just trying to make sure it's all the way covered all the way around, because you just don't want any kind of rust build up or corrosion on there. Just let that dry. Move on to your other set of holes that you need to drill, and then you'll be ready to run the tubes that go from the rear to the front and into the engine compartment. Okay, during the installation you may find that up-down air has provided adequate or even more access of the actual tubing that you're running, so you may need to cut some of that off. Either use like a sharp knife, and I want you to cut it nice and straight, but it might be kind of hard to do that when it's up in the air like this. So I went ahead and purchased, just for this build, a really nice tube cutter. This one's a lot bigger than what's necessary. As you can see, it's not necessary for that size, but I did that because I'm going to use this for other applications as well. But to use this, you just simply open it up like this. It opens. You just put it down here at the bottom till it closes. You do a couple of quick ratcheting, and that's it. I mean, it's nice and clean. You don't have to worry about trying to put your hand here, cutting it off, hurting yourself with the build when you're trying to have fun with an installation. So I'd highly recommend using this for this build, because you're probably going to be cutting. I've been cutting on each one of the connections just because they're just a little bit too long. Still leaving a little bit of access here in case I need to move it to a different location after I find out how much it's really going to flex, and if there's any issues on the trail I can still move it around a little bit. But this is about all I needed to cut off on this one, and I just wanted to show you this is a product I purchased from, I think, Lowe's for like 25 bucks. Alright, this is what we've been waiting for. Now we have the green whips tied into the system. Right now they've been connected for over 2 minutes, and I'm watching the PSI gauge, and it has not dropped at all. I set all my tires at 30 before I started this project, and it still remained right at 30, so no leaks. Okay, this is the part that I've been waiting for. This is going to be the air down part of the system. So all you're going to do is you're going to open up this valve right here, and it's going to start to release that PSI. Again, all 4 tires at the exact same time. So let's go ahead and see how this works. Just go ahead and open it up real slow, because this is the first test on this. Right now it's set here at 30 PSI, if you can't see that. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up a little bit more. Now it's open all the way, letting all that air out of all 4 tires. Just going to put a piece of paper over this just to show you that it is moving the air. It is flowing. So now that we've aired down, now it's time to go ahead and see how the ARB compressor does to air these back up to 30 PSI for all 4 tires. This is a view real quickly of the mount being removed, and then the 4 rivet points that would have been used to hold that together. The 2 bright silver pieces that you see in the background are actually where the rivets were taken out, and just a little bit of touch-up paint was put on there just so it doesn't rust or corrode. And now that those 2 pieces aren't together, you can see that those would have been put together with just 4 rivets. And now that piece right there will go back into the dark side. So I just wanted to show that this is actually designed for an existing ARB compressor, but this one is actually using an ARB compressor with a metal cloak bracket. That bracket's a little bit different, a little bit thicker, and also has some clearance issues with the up-down air housing. So what I had to do is I had to remove the full bracket completely, and I'll be making my own to get that firmly set it inside the engine compartment. But just wanted to show you that there was some modifications needed due to the fact that this is not a factory ARB mount. This was a metal cloak mount. Now it's time to just clean this installation up and give you a full review once it's all cleaned up and all the wiring harnesses, all of the wire looms have all been tucked away. Real quick, with this installation done, as you can see we have the ARB system, the S-Pod, that's what we're using to run the ARB system, and then right here is the whole brain of how this actually works. So you have your PSI, you have your adjustable knob here, and then if you open up this valve, this is what lets you to air down your system. What is really cool about this system is, let's say that you're on the trail and one of your tires goes out on you, and so you need to replace it. On your rear tire, that may not even be close to what the PSI is on the rest of them, so you don't have to worry about that because it's going to all equalize all at the exact same time. So if you've got one at 10 and everything else is at 30, it's going to allow that to catch up and pull that air to that one tire until it gets up to that point, and then it'll equalize and everything will be back to 30. So it's a really cool system. It also allows you, almost look at it as like a tuning system as well. So let's say that you're on the trail, you're at 15 PSI and you're like, man, it's just still a rough ride, or I'm just not getting that footprint that I'm looking for. So I want to drop it down to even maybe 2, even 5, whatever you're looking for that best ride quality, depending on what type of environment you're in. So it's a great tuning application or tool. And thank you so much, and I hope this video has been very helpful for you. Go ahead and take again a look at updownair.com, and there are so many offerings that they have. They have ARB systems, via air systems, even just the add-on systems that you've seen here today. So you have your 4 whips, you have this little bag, and with your installation is done, you put those 4 whips back in here, and this is the only thing you'll have to carry in your vehicle going forward. Thanks again.
Well, it's kind of like that, except he connects these valves to all 4 corners, and he can air down and air up at once.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's a pretty beautiful setup. He's making a video of it. I'll send you the video when he gets it uploaded.
Something that you've never had before at the, just really at the tip of your tongue.